tell us a little bit about you.
Yeah. Hello, coffee friends. Where to start about me? Well, let's start maybe from the beginning, then from the end. At the beginning, I was just a barista at the Starbucks in Prague, and that was just a part-time job while I was studying in the university, where I moved from Slovakia to Prague just to study, technical university. I was more of the tech girl to doing graphic design and studying marketing and HR, such a weird combination. But back then I didn't know what career I want to have. And as a part-time barista at Starbucks, that was the career that I kind of found. I found myself so happy to be surrounded with coffee and customers and just talking about coffee. I think you know the feeling, right?
Fan? Like, was it like, I got to go work at Starbucks to learn about coffee, but you just needed a part-time job? That's how it started.
I was drinking giant latte with the caramel before.
Giant lattes with the caramel, all right?
Yeah, sure. That I was bringing to university during the lessons. And that's how I started. I didn't have any particular relationship to coffee. It was just I needed money as any student in Prague. And after working 2-3 years at Starbucks, I fell in love with coffee so much, but I knew that there is so much more to it, and I needed to find out what is the good cup of coffee. Because at Starbucks, you learn a lot about how to run the coffee shop, how to be a good barista, how to be a good manager, all the knowledge that you need to run the coffee shop and to fall in love for the coffee. But as I understood that there is much more to coffee than what I was served at Starbucks, no offense, still. But I knew that I wanted to become one of those that I was always watching on the stages that competing at the barista competitions, and I didn't really know what's the difference.
You mentioned about becoming a good barista. Would you consider, and this is just dumbing it down, would you consider Starbucks baristas good baristas, or are they following the model, the way you would at McDonald's, the way you would at something what makes a special barista? Because we'll get into your journey, because you're an award-winning barista, but what would you define as a good barista? Is that a Starbucks barista? Do you owe them a little bit, or do you nah, I know what a good barista is now? I
wish there would be some balance between Starbucks barista and specialty coffee barista, and that's because Starbucks baristas have that kind of insane positivity that when you enter the coffee shop, everyone is smiling at you, which is natural. But baristas at Starbucks are really enjoying their job. I don't know, I just fell in love with that customer service that we had there. And then when you go to specialty coffee shops, sometimes you have people behind the bar too much focus on the preparation of the coffee. So they're heads down on the brew because they're so much in love with the coffee that they love more coffee than the customers. So something in between would be, I think, for me, the best. To get a good customer service and coffee that I rather forgive a bad cup of coffee than a bad customer service.
Right. Well, coffee culture is relatively new around the world. I mean, it's been 30 episodes since I've done coffee, and I did music and travel in life. Yeah. And in my journey since then, obviously, still trying to find the best coffee in the world, still trying to find the best baristas. It hasn't changed much in 25 or 30 weeks. I mean, I'm just saying the world doesn't move that fast, but the discussions are still the same, which is sustainability, and which is paying the proper price for a bean, and Starbucks is taking a lot of flack for their lack of how much they pay per bean, and there's just so many things about the business that I guess you would learn as you come in as learning to become a barista, and then you wanted, as you said, you wanted to study more on it, you wanted to learn more about the people that were on stage and competing. Starbucks would have given you a base of knowledge, right? But then you, from there, say, "Oh, I need to learn more." And what was the trigger for you where you was like, I'm just not getting enough. I'm just not getting enough knowledge from this. I need to dive in, and who's going to teach me how to do that?
Yeah, that was back in 2013, and I went in Prague into one of the specialty coffee shop, and I've been served the coffee with the words from the barista. Here's your Ethiopia Yirgachev wash processed coffee. Enjoy the floral nose. And I was like, what just happened?
It wasn't a caramel macchiato.
Yeah, exactly.
Or something that requires a. Where you're not really tasting the bean anymore.
Yeah, it was just amazing. It was like performance, and I was like, wow, I want to know what's behind that. So I started to search more, and I figured out that within Prague we have World Barista Champion. I'm not sure which year. I mean, World Barista Champion is also Tim Wendelbo. That's 2004. And there is another champion. His name is William Davis. And he lives with his wife in Prague. And I met him, and he took me for one of his courses to teach me more about specialty coffee. And that was the starting point for me to get that wow moment into the cup. And back then, in 2014, I tried to go for the first championship. That was in the category where you mix coffee and alcohol. And I still didn't know how to even set the grinder for espresso. But I was on the stage of national championship in Czech Republic, and I happened to win it. I have no idea how. Till today, I mean, I decided to brew the coffee, then making espresso, because you can choose what do you want to mix with alcohol. And I went for the safe run to make the filter coffee, and I won.
And you won.
Yeah.
And that changed it all for you at that point, right?
I was like, I still don't know anything, but here we are. Let's do more. So it was amazing. Yeah, and then I got a job at a specialty coffee roastery in Prague. I've been there for 2 years. I tried to learn as much as possible. I went for another championship, Barista Championship, that I won in Slovakia. And I still felt like I don't have enough time for preparation for the world stage, because that's a lot of money, a lot of time. And I needed a space. So I decided to quit all the jobs. Yeah. I quit the job.
Wow.
I quit the school.
Quit the school.
Yeah. I haven't finished my master's.
Still going for it.
No. It's like I don't.
Master's in coffee now.
Yeah, exactly. And back then I opened my own barista school in Czech Republic that I ran it for almost 3 years before I moved here to Norway.
You had enough barista knowledge at that point where you felt comfortable properly.
Yeah, because I was
people.
insane. I had to learn as much as possible and as quick as possible. So I was just running for all the courses myself to learn as much as possible, and traveling all around the countries and sharing the knowledge with the people in the industry, and then coming back to share it with others. So yeah, then another 3 years I went for the Brewers Cup Championship in Slovakia, and I won all 3 years, and finally I made it for the world, which I enjoyed so much, and now we are in Norway.
You go from Slovakia to the Czech Republic to Norway.
Yeah.
It's quite a journey, and the feeling of winning that first championship must have been odd, and then the second one, and then the third one, you start kind of getting a feeling amongst yourself like maybe you know what you're doing now. Like, you keep winning, so people are starting to ask you, like, more questions and more things. It had to be a great feeling to start winning, especially it opens up all these doors. You got to open up the barista school. You started teaching people about that. Is there a ceiling to this? There's never a ceiling, so it just you just keep competing, you just keep trying to get better at it.
I stopped competing, actually.
You stopped competing, yeah.
I stopped competing. Last time I competed, it was a year ago. It was in Brazil, was the World Championship. And 3 times in a row on the world stage, I happened to be like 9th, 10th, and it was not improving more than I that I wanted to, and I realized that actually maybe that's the end point for me. It's okay. I don't have to win this competition because I just wanted to do it to get better and inspire others that it's possible to do it even though you don't know how to make espresso. So, yeah.
What's the fine line between finishing 10th and 1st as a barista? Like, what is it that you can, and break it down just simply from a lot of people in North America, especially as coffee culture is new there.
Yeah.
Baristas are still like, oh, it's a barista, because people do drive-in coffee and they do McDonald's and Tim Hortons and Dunkin' Donuts and all these things that are common. Starbucks even, are very common, and it's very quick and grab and go. There's not a lot of patience for waiting 10 minutes for a coffee or the art. So what can you define as like the difference between 9th and 1st, as a barista? Because there has to be some kind of form, yeah? Like what? Tell me
between
about that.
9th and 1st place is actually only how you wake up that morning.
Okay.
Like literally, because there, let's say in barista category, you have 3 rounds where you have preliminary, then it's the semifinals, then it is the finals, and you do the routine all over again. So you can be first in the first round, and then if you get to the finals, you can be last, so 6th. It's just how you wake up that day and make the coffee for the judges and how they will perceive you, that how it's gonna look like the whole experience with that barista. It's not just about the coffee.
Or it's not even about, you could put that on a shirt. You could put that on a meme. You see them every day, but it's like the difference between 9th and 1st is how you wake up in the morning.
Yeah, well,
You're
basically
right?
It is the same. Like you go to coffee shop, you yourself, let's say here in Oslo, you enter the coffee shop and you wish to get the good coffee, but you don't know what kind of barista is behind the bar. Does the barista have today
A bad day.
Or good day?
Hungover.
If he has or she has a good day, then you're gonna have a good day because it's contagious. And with cup of coffee, oh my God, that's like perfect match.
Sure.
But yeah, so that's that.
Would you say that you had more good days than bad? Obviously, you won a few times. Would you say as a barista, you just kind of were like...
The best days.
The best days.
Oh my God, I miss it. I miss to be behind the bar, but at the same time, you have to make money. to if it would be... if you could make the salary that you make as a head of marketing, then hell yeah, I'm there.
So head of marketing now for Roast.
Yeah.